Hi, my name is Damien Harfield. I run Real Aqua Freestyle Martial Arts. We are a multi-site organization, which means we've got various different instructors across the United Kingdom that we've set up over the years. And I also run the Playful Warrior Academy, which is an organization that helps small and medium businesses like yourselves essentially grow and hit your revenue goals. So here are 5 things that I didn't want to hear when I started teaching 12 years ago, that when I actually started implementing it, my business grew massively. So let's get on with it, shall we? So for the first, number 1, embrace change, even if it's uncomfortable. As martial artists, we tend to be a bit stuck in our ways, which means that we can actually be quite slow to embrace change and flow. To give you an example, at the moment, the biggest change that's probably going to be disrupting our industry is going to be AI. There's going to be a lot of, well, there already are a lot of AI tools around that will help you organize everything that you need to organize, that typically either we tend to do ourselves because we are control freaks, let's face it, or things that we would employ other people to do. Now, I'm not saying don't do that, because I still have people that call the phones for me, because it's nice to have an actual human being on the end of certain processes. But there's going to be a lot of things that are changing. We've got a cost of living crisis in the UK and pretty much across the rest of the world. We've got AI that's coming in and disrupting lots of different industries. But we need to embrace these changes rather than push them away, because your competition, which aren't other martial arts school owners, I see competition as other activities. But your competition is going to be embracing these changes, which means they're going to be running way ahead of you. And again, as martial artists, we tend to be quite slow to change. We are set in our ways. Many of us have been teaching or training in the same style for many, many years, some of us decades. And so it's in our DNA and our nature to stick to what we know, but we need to start embracing that change. Okay, number 2, no one cares about you. My goodness, this was the biggest thing for me when I was first starting out sort of 12 years ago as a teacher. And it's nobody cares about your accomplishments. You could be the 5-time world champion at whatever your particular style is. You could be the best martial artist in the world in your particular style or in general, but nobody really cares. They're coming to your classes for their needs, and you need to make sure that you understand what those needs are. So when we market, we don't market, hey, it's Mr. Harfield, who's been teaching people for well over a decade and has got great success with teaching kids and families. So nobody cares about that. What we want to advertise, and the way that we bring students in, is that we talk about the different things that we can do for you if you were to join our organization. So I see a lot of individuals out there who are still kind of a little bit caught up with their own success, and they're advertising, hey, come and train with this particular instructor. They're amazing because they've achieved X, Y, Z. But it's only when you can impart your skills to someone else that people start to care. Now, the reason they join is for their own sort of goals, and you got to discover those. But sometimes what we know and what they think are different. We appreciate that. So we get them to join for their goals, and then when we can see that actually what you need is something a bit different, that is where we get to keep them for a long time, and eventually we get to improve their lives because we've identified other things they might need to work on. But it's only once you've built that rapport in the beginning, and only once you've identified why they joined, as in the student, the child, or the adult, then you get to start growing, because people understand that you start to care. Okay, number 3, prioritize business management as much as martial arts. We all love to train. It's why we started in the first place, and many of us started to teach martial arts because it was just a natural progression of what we do. But lots of us still don't prioritize the business side of things, and the business side of things is like your processes and your systems that allow things to sort of move really nicely and with very little friction and resistance. Because at the end of the day, your students are still customers, and customers don't want lots of friction and resistance when they're trying to access your service. Also, you've got to think of it as a business in terms of you've got to market to get new students. You've got to make sure that you budget and plan. You've got to make sure that everything that's running is sort of exactly what you would expect if you were paying for a different service, like, I don't know, an internet provider, or, Netflix is a streaming service. You expect certain things like quick and fluid communication. You don't always get it, but you start to get annoyed when these little things that you expect don't happen. And it's exactly the same for our students. Yes, they're there to train and learn a style, but at the same time, if it's not backed up with systems like clear and quick communication, or at the very least, if your communication is slower than you would like it to be, there's an explanation for that, and the students know what it is. Things like setting your year planner, having all the gradings laid out, etc., etc. It's like, it's got to be run and organized like it's a business first and martial arts second, because the only way you get to keep your students is if they're happy with what's being provided. Don't get me wrong, I have made all these mistakes over the years, and I still make some of these mistakes, but I employ team members around me who are really, really good at this. And so building a team is going to be linking into a lot of what you need to do, because it's going to take a lot off of your plate. But I'm going to talk about building teams in a different video, because we've got 24 team members at this point in time, and a whole bunch of instructors that they support, which is fantastic. But you need to make sure that you treat your school as though it's a business, because only that way will you be open in 2, 5, 10, 20 years time. Otherwise, you're going to close your doors, because you won't be able to generate any revenue and you won't have any profit. And without profit, you can't do anything. Can't pay for anything. Can't improve your services. Can't employ people. So profit's really key. The only way you do that is by treating it as a business. Okay, number 4, invest in marketing and branding. Your logo is not your brand. When I first started, I got really caught up with the logo. Not necessary. Again, just like you, the only person who cares is you when it comes to your logo. Your students don't really care. You could have mocked it up in 5 minutes on Canva and boom, printed it on a really cheap uniform. No one cares. What they care about is the fact that they're able to find you. And the only way that your martial arts organization, school, club, whatever it is you want to call it, only way they're going to be able to find you is if you have a solid marketing strategy. Now, we're going to talk about marketing strategy. This is just things that I didn't want to hear when I was starting teaching 12 years ago. But one of the things that you can do is, at the very least, start doing some outreach to local communities, making sure that you're present on different social media platforms. If you don't want to learn lots of different platforms, then pick one and go at that one really hard. Make sure you learn what you can around different ways of marketing. Let me give you an example. Back in 2013, Facebook was really easy, like really easy. Nobody really knew what it was. Facebook didn't even really know what it was, and everything was really cheap. Getting leads and new students was super simple, and you didn't have to spend all that much. Over the years, that has increased and increased and increased, and now we have social media experts, if we haven't learned it ourselves, and we have to employ them or contract them to do it for us. That's an option if you've got the budget. If you don't, you need to learn it yourself. But it went from being really easy to, just over a decade later, really difficult. The algorithm does all weird things. You've got to spend more money. You've got to do lots of different little tweaks all the time. It can take up a tremendous amount of time that you might not have. And so if you invest in correct marketing, then you'll make sure that you do more than just the one. So we do what we call a triangular or triangulation method. So we make sure that we have paper marketing, which is, we still leaflet. We've doubled school sizes using these tactics. We do social media marketing, Facebook and Instagram, and we also do outreach marketing, which actually is my 5th point: community engagement. Make sure that if you are in one location, so you're literally just a single site location, you don't do multiple clubs, then you need to be the person in the area that everybody thinks of when somebody speaks about martial arts. And the only way you can do that is by doing community outreach. So speak to schools and keep at it. It once took me 4 years to get into our largest secondary school in one of our locations, and we have been there for the last 5 years. And we are the only ones that they will do business with. But it took 4 years to get through the front door. And so it can be a lengthy process. Sometimes it's really simple. If you hire halls rather than have a static dojo, then hire a school hall and they'll let you market. Like, we've never had a school turn around and say, no, you can't hand out the leaflets. It's like, you're renting our hall. Sure, we'll help your business thrive so that you can pay us more money, which is great. And so you just want to go to different schools, make sure that you're leafleting. You want to do maybe, and I've seen this work really well in the past, we don't do it so much anymore, just for time more than anything else. But you could do free welcome days. So advertise, go out and say, hey, you know, for community members in, I don't know, Bath, if that happens to be your area, come along on Sunday, the 27th of May, and all the lessons are free. Now, again, you've got to make sure you market that, but it's another way of community engagement and outreach. Get involved in local events. We have lots of different summer fairs and fetes that are happening in town and at schools, and we go along. All of this work we do is for free. You might not want to do it for free, but we do it for free because we appreciate that if we do one day for free, we might end up getting 20, 30, 40 leads. And so on the back end, if they decide to join, it's more than paid for itself. So we like to do these community outreach things for free. Get involved in local charities is another really good one. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. I wanted to keep it short today. I'm going to be doing long form videos in the future where we go into really detailed sort of explanation of how our organization does this, because I appreciate that when I'm looking on YouTube and looking for things, I like the details, but I want to keep it short today. So just a very quick recap: embrace change, even if it's uncomfortable. No one cares about you. They only care about what you can do for them. Prioritize business management as much as martial arts, if not more so. Invest in marketing and branding. Remember, branding is not your logo. It is the feeling that somebody gets when your club is mentioned. So if somebody mentions like our club freestyle, RA freestyle martial arts, it's like, what does that get in their head? Do you have a reputation? What is that reputation? That's your branding, not your logo. No one cares. Invest in marketing and branding is what I've just said. And number 5, community engagement is absolutely key. If you're a single site, if you're multiple sites, you've got multiple instructors, then your instructors need to be doing the same thing for their individual sites. So I hope you found that useful. Like I said, in the future, we'll be going into long form videos as well as short form videos, because I want to share everything that we do in really big detail so that videos like these you can actually find really useful. But it wasn't until I started implementing these after I really didn't want to listen to it, especially the thing about no one cares about you, because I was like, why don't you care about me? I'm really good at what I do. So yeah, take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one.